Happy Vlad Day, everybody. Happy Vlad Day. He's finally here. He's coming up today, Friday afternoon. Get him in your lineups automatically. Put him right into third base. Whoever's there, just move him out of the spot. Get Vlad in there. Don't wait. Hopefully your team survived the wait. How did the wait go for you? Are you okay? Are your teams okay? Mine are okay. I have a lot of teams that are doing just fine, and they didn't have Vlad, and now I'm just going to splash a star into the team, into the third base or into the utility spot, because I've already got guys playing third base that I can't move out of there. So hopefully your teams are doing well, and now you get to enjoy the rest of the season and have the excitement of really one of the most exciting prospects to come up in the league in a little bit, probably since Bryce and Trout. I was on his Twitter. I liked that Vlad, he posted a picture of himself getting ready in his locker, and he said, "First day of class." And I just like that. I like the attitude, the approach, the makeup, that he wants to come up and learn. He knows he's got a lot to learn. There's going to be adjustments. I mean, he is a rookie, so temper the expectations a little bit, but the guy does not strike out, and there's a lot of power. So happy Vlad Day. It's finally here. We've been waiting a long time. I've been stashing him since the middle of last summer. Welcome back to all the subscribers. I know it's been a little bit. I've been sitting around, I'm listening to the podcast. Everybody else will tell you, who to tinker, who to add drop. I don't want to come in and just list names. And it was early. I mean, the whole thing is really about the draft season. So I got a lot of things. I got some critiques. I got to just get some things off my chest about baseball generally. Make it through that. Get to the end of the video. We're going to get technical. We're going to talk about some numbers a little bit. That's the plan. First off, Carter Kieboom is getting called up by the Washington Nationals, so you should probably stop the video, go to your waiver wires, and pick up some Carter Kieboom. He's young, he's 6'2", he can mash, he's got some power, he's a 60 grade prospect, so go do that. Welcome back. I'm glad you added Carter Kieboom in a few places. People are a little bit slow to pick him up. Yeah, I'll front the downside. The downside is that he's up because of injuries, and when Trey comes back and when Rendon sorts it out, suddenly he might get sent down, but that's not what happened with Juan Soto last year. I love how the Washington Nats are willing to bring up young prospects, put them in the lineup. If they hit, they play. Robles came up early. Soto, maybe it's Carter Kieboom. Maybe they find some room for him. I like him. He's studly. He's worth going out, throwing into your lineups. Most of what we've been dealing with so far is just injuries galore. Just injuries. It's luck. That's part of the baseball season. We can't really draft against injuries. We don't know who's going to get hurt. It's just the nature of the game. It's a slow game. It's a stop and starty game. I mean, anybody who's done something athletically, how do you stay warm for 3.5 hours in a competitive game? Let's say you were playing some basketball, a sport, some flag football, and you slow down and you cool off. You tighten up a little bit. Are you ready to just go sprint? It's herky-jerky, so guys are getting hurt. Pitchers get hurt in rundowns. The ball is ever so dangerous, rib cage, hand, forearm, knee, whatever. A lot of injuries, so can't really avoid that. A lot of variation there, and we're trying to stay fresh. We're trying to tinker, make sure that we get our lineups and keep them tight. I've been having an issue with the strike zone. And so are the umpires, and so is Bryce Harper. That's why he got tossed from the game. And it's just a critique on MLB. Why do we have to have a different strike zone? These players, they're trying to command the zone. They have to be ready to not reach or to reach, and they have a pretty good eye for that. That's why they're professional hitters. But the umpires are willing to have a low zone one day. I mean, I was literally watching José Quintana, who is playing better than I would ever give him credit for. I'm watching Quintana going in this Cubs game, and this umpire, it's terrible. We have the box on the TV. We've got the StatCast, and it's showing where the ball's going. So if it's over there, and you said strike, we're going, that's not a strike. And then the guys are getting mad. Yeah, we all agree you're missing calls. And so Quintana is just consistently working low in the dirt, not borderline, just low. And this umpire is just terrible. He's calling strikes. John Madden has to come out, and he gets tossed from the game for just telling this umpire he sucks, which we can all see on TV. And so it's just a little bit illegitimate. And with numbers just changing so rapidly, it's still so early in the season that a hitter going 3 for 4 for a couple days in a row, his average is going to drastically change. A 2 home run game, your entire thoughts of the player could just change in that one day. So these kinds of things, these are the variations that are going to be hard to work with. It's hard to know which pitchers because we don't know which umpires, and then we don't know if the game's going to be called tight. So there's a lot of variance, and the strike zones are just one thing to deal with. And this is my other thing. I don't know why we're changing the strike zone for different heights of hitters. We don't lower the basketball rim for short players. As far as I know, they don't change the lines on the tennis court if somebody's got a lot of reach. I mean, what sports are they just changing the supposed size of the rules and the limitations? Go to an electronic strike zone. I mean, some of these guys, some of these little guys like Altuve or Jose Ramirez and a Crouch, they shrink the strike zone down. And then supposedly a big like Aaron Judge at 6'7" has to have a giant strike zone. Is that right? Is that competition? Is that sport? I'm not sure about that. So, I mean, if it was an electronic strike zone, everyone's got to defend the same zone. That's not fair. We're going to change the rules based on the height. All right, I guess so. I guess we'll keep going with it. And this whole thing is like learning a little bit. Like I draft and I prepare, and then I want to learn from my mistakes. And one of the takeaways I think after multiple seasons of digesting it is don't feel mad when you get burned on a prospect. Don't go, oh, I got burned on a prospect. Screw that prospect. I'm never drafting him again. He ruined my season. You were probably just early. You were early. So if you like a guy, if he's 60 grade, if he's 65 grade prospect, and you liked him or he showed flashes, and then he burns you the next season, go again. You were probably just early. Luis Castillo, you were just early. He looks like a beast right now. Yoan Moncada, it looks like the explosion has occurred. He's playing second. He's now got third base eligibility. And third base is shallow. He's absolutely mashing. 65 grade prospect. You were probably just early. So, don't get too mad when you get burned on a guy. The thing with arms, I gotta talk a little bit about pitching. Is like you gotta pick your arms at just the right time. There's this balance for starting pitchers. At first, they've got to be stretched out. They've got to get some innings under their belt. If they've only gone 100, they're not going to jump to 200. So you're looking for the stretch. But as arms get mileage and throw a lot of pitches, velocity always declines. So you're working against that. So there's this middle range of live arm, has innings, has developed pitches, but doesn't have a lot of miles on the arm because once the miles add up, and Clayton Kershaw, maybe even a Scherzer, you might see some things pull back. And so to really hit that sweet zone, you've got to kind of guess. You got to jump in on a guy before it happens. Nola last year, not so much this year. Bauer, things like that. So picking arms is a little bit speculative. And like what you got last year, it's probably not this year. He just put all that mileage on the arm. So I don't know why we think like, oh yeah, Scherzer, like it's automatic now. No, it was automatic last season. Now he's got to reinvent. He's got to deal with the mileage. It's a question there. I'm noticing a lot of podcasts. The whole preseason, I'm kind of clowning everybody because they're not getting prepared properly. And then in-season podcasts are just delusion about their teams, about how wrong they were. I had this guy go on and go, this is last night, this is a supposed expert, I think, on like RotoWire. He's like, I've got Sale and Scherzer and I'm in last place. Well, why were you taking pitchers early? So I hope everybody that's been listening to the videos, we weren't going and spending first and second round picks on starting pitching. We were waiting and trying to mix some stuff in. So listening to the pods is pretty hilarious. I'm gonna throw in, this is a fear of missing out clip, and it just amused me so much. Let me pull this thing up. This is Razball, and I think, I don't know if this is Rao, I forget his name, but like I typically like what he says. And here's a fear of missing out clip that I just can't get on board with.
Like one through 8 in the Phillies lineup is a big FOMO for me right now.
Right, because there's collateral damage. They brought in Segura, Harper, Realmuto. You had to anticipate there's going to be numbers. There's going to be ribbies and runs everywhere.
For me right now, Rhys Hoskins is probably the biggest. I can't believe I loved Rhys Hoskins coming into the year.
How much?
But it was like, it's just hard.
Come on, give it to me.
It's hard when you're like in leagues where other people like the same players as you.
That's all leagues.
B, you get other guys, and Hoskins just doesn't make sense at the time.
I can respect that if you're on a cusp. If it's a snake draft and it wasn't the right time, or you were drafting first and then it didn't come back to you.
Like when I'm in like I'm in a auction league and I allocate all my money towards outfield or something else besides first base, and I don't have money to be spending on Hoskins, and it's like I can't bid on him. So I'm bummed, but I do not have Hoskins this year anywhere, which sucks because I really do. I liked him a lot in the preseason, and I still really like him. He hit 2 homers tonight.
Come on. Don't tell me you really liked him. I mean, this is auction. If you really like them, they're on your team. I will go. I was calling Hoskins and Alberto the usual. It wasn't even liking them. It was just him going for $22 or $25. You started the draft with money. What do you mean all of your money was put in your outfield? Were you going full stars and scrubs and buying 3 outfielders? We weren't trying to do that. You've got to keep at least one outfield spot open for somebody cheap or from the waivers. I mean, who are you using at 1B? So I just found that comical, especially in an auction league where you get to pick your players. Just say, I didn't like him that much. Where my admission would come up? It would be for Yelich. I was a little bit Yelich regression. Even at the end of the season, I said, no, Yelich looks like he's going to be really good of some sort. But I just wasn't paying there. He was going for 40 or 45. He's the MVP of the league. And I was getting a lot of Trea Turner or Acuna. So I have no Yelich. But Hoskins was available. I just found that hilarious. Another one I was just dying at last night was like, Flags Fly Forever are talking about Nola. And this guy's like, yeah, I bought Nola for $40 or $36 in NL Tout, and that's turned out to be a mistake. Yeah, it is. Part of this is about velocity. He's at 92. I mean, Nola's very good, but he's not going to be dominant. And we tried to warn he might not have the step forward. Why are you spending $35 on a pitcher? It's just not a good approach. So I find that interesting. And then there's a term that I'm just disgusted with. I'm disgusted to even say the term, the victory lap. What is the victory lap? Why do we have to hear the word victory lap? Every time I say it, I feel a little bit nauseous saying victory lap. I mean, I've got a couple good teams. I've got some decent teams. We're 3 or 4 weeks into the season. I'll take a victory lap if we march through the playoffs and win multiple leagues. I'll take a victory lap that things are working. There's no such thing as a 1-week victory lap off of one start. German Marquez has one complete game gem and it's victory lap time. He's a good pitcher. There wasn't really a debate there. I don't think that's victory lap worthy. I like to look at mistakes. I want to know where I messed up. Learn from my approach. Do a little self-shaming. Be better. Be a better player. Do better. You make some conclusions. I'll admit mistakes. My biggest mistake right now, who I'm regretting the most, is Aguilar. He is absolutely killing me. What happened, Aguilar? So what's the warning sign next season? When a guy doesn't have pedigree and breaks out at 28 years old in a 2/3 or 3/4 of the season sample season, maybe it's just fluky. Maybe I can't get in. That's why I don't like, oh my gosh, in Colorado, Blackmon. That's why I don't like Blackmon, because it just happened too late. And so maybe I shouldn't have given Aguilar the benefit of the doubt. I wish I didn't have him anywhere. And I've started to cut him in a couple places because he's frustrating me. He's hitting like 160. So look at your approach, reflect on that, and see where you could get better. It's a long season. I'll just add in that I'm in this deep league and I'm taking a whooping. I took Vlad very early. I'm getting Vlad back. And in the deep league and it's 16 team and deep, there just isn't replacement level. And so I'm stashing Vlad since Zell didn't get called up. And for every guy on the bench, it's as though I'm missing two players because now they're not in, and now I have to hold them, and I can't stream, and I can't pick up guys, and it handcuffs me, and I'm just losing to teams that look like teams full of scrubs that are just getting plate appearances. They're just running out warm bodies and the counting stats, and I'm getting beat up, and it's gross. But it's a long season. It's a long season. This is just a very beginning tip of the season. There really haven't even been enough at-bats for us to even trust plate discipline yet. So hang in there and keep grinding. Don't stop grinding yet. Everything that could have happened to you just now, it could flip. Trea Turner beat up on me when he was healthy in the first week of the season. Now he's gone. The team that had Aaron Judge, now they don't have Aaron Judge. There's going to be more injuries. You got to stay with it. You got to keep grinding. It's too early to give up in any league. And just tell me this about the juiced ball. I'm going to get into some numbers again. We're talking about the juiced ball again because the home runs are flying out. There's tons of home runs. And it hasn't affected me that much because I drafted mostly hitters and I paid up for hitters, so that's better. And the starting pitching was like, oh, the starting pitching's not good. The starting pitching, all the first round aces weren't good. Like, pitching is volatile. And when something like this happens, a juice ball is going to occur. Like, you're better off to be on the hitting end. The pitchers, you got to give these guys time. Quarterbacks in the league need 3 games. Pitchers are going to need multiple starts. Maybe they're on pitch counts like a Walker Buehler where they didn't really ramp up in the spring. And so now they have to get some games under their belt, some live action. Pitching is going to keep changing throughout the entire season. The other thing is hitters that got off really hot. Sometimes I think it's about the book. Like there's a book on guys. When you get called up late in the season, I don't know what it is. I'm not in an MLB management GM position to know about the book that's on pitchers. And maybe when young hitters get called up, they just throw them fastballs. It's a machismo thing. They're throwing them heat, and they don't learn where there's holes in the swing. But this is going to be cat and mouse all season. Bellinger said, I saw what you guys were doing to me at the end of last season in the playoffs, embarrassing me with that hole, and that hole's gone. That little hitch he had in his swing, that little choke up, 2-strike approach that he was using, that's gone. Bellinger takes tremendous hacks at the ball, and he filled up some holes, and guys need to stop pitching him there. He's going to keep punishing them. And so that cat and mouse, that'll go. Pitchers will dial in. They'll start to get there. They're just looking to replicate mechanics. So the more chances they get to replicate mechanics and get onto a routine, they're going to keep getting better and better at that. Watch the cat and mouse go back and forth. But back to the juice ball, I don't know. I don't know why we're changing different metrics. Could we do the same ball every season? Would that be an idea? Could we just keep it consistent? Do we really have to tinker with outcomes? If it's so extreme, apparently it's the aerodynamics of the ball this season. It's not even the springiness. It's that it's flying further. So, deal with that. The thing on hitters, I don't think you can chase hitting home runs. Guy hits a bunch of home runs. Now he's hot. He must be. No, he just hit his home runs, so he's probably less likely statistically to hit more home runs. You got to stick with your guys. This is why draft prep is so important. You have to stick with your guys that you drafted and committed to, and you're going to just kick back and get the full season's numbers. Things are going to change. Things are going to shift. Let's jump into the numbers really quickly here. I've got to move my screen around. We talked about pitching velocity last pod. We talked about pitching velocity. Obviously, you're going to go there to see who's throwing hard. And this is just back to the metrics we've been talking about. These are what we use to prep for the preseason. Now we want to see how they look here. Let's take a little look at K minus BB percentage because this is just your basic filth rating. And let's take a look at who's pitching filthy. These are guys to get off your waivers. Block A Snell, 31.7% K to B percentage, filth. Paxton, Scherzer, Cole. Nobody didn't guess that. Patrick Corbin, Flaherty, Sonny Gray, Verlander. So there's the guys that swing. Caleb Smith, who I skipped over, at number 5 on K to BB percentage. He's like 50% owned in Yahoo. Go get Caleb Smith off the waivers. It's time. It's really happening. He's filthy right now, and you might as well ride it out while it's working. He just shut down Philly, probably one of the nastiest lineups in the league, so it's really happening there. Sonny Gray, who I despise and talk a lot of trash about, I guess it's working. He's striking guys out. He said that the Yankees weren't allowing him to throw his off-speed stuff, and now he's getting to throw it. So, you got some Sonny Gray there. Matt Boyd, we talked about that. It's really happening. Quintana, who I trash. Zack Greinke the Great just keeps it going, even though I talked a lot of trash about him. The K-to-B is decent. Greinke's real magic is that walks are bad, and he's got that sub-2 walks. He's able to control the ball. Chris Paddock's been a beast. Things will shift down. It's just worth looking at your K-to-BB percentage. Domingo Germán, get him off of the waivers. Carlos Rodon, get him off of the waivers. You see the names there. You can go tinker. Another place we're going to go over real quick to the StatCast leaderboard, and we want to see your barrels per plate appearances. Of course, guys that are mashing the ball, Gary, Joey Gallo with that glacial. Oh, Joey's getting a little better. The raw power was there. I don't own a lot of Joey, though. Anthony Rendon. You can read the list there, see if there's some surprises. But the numbers are a little inflated. Go back historically. Can Gary hold an 18.5 barrels per plate appearance? Plus, he's been injured. Some of these guys in the 11s, the 10s. This will just help confirm what you already thought. Look at Alberto at 33 with that 10 barrel percentage. I think he's a star. I'm happy to own a lot of that. Those are some of your surprises. Click on your 95 hard hit number, the 95 mile per hour number. Those are guys that are hitting it hard. And then compare to your barrels per plate appearances, like Andrelton Simmons has the light blue next to it. It's hard, but it's flat. Tommy Pham, a little flat. DJ LeMahieu, very flat. So those are your guys that are just striking the ball pretty hard right now. Definitely works. And then I was going to give you guys one more little approach to look at, and it is using BABIP for trades. I got to pull this back up here. The Major League leaderboard. I'm just going to sort hitters by BABIP. And if you're looking to trade and other guys aren't paying attention, or you want to anticipate some movement, Tim Anderson leads BABIP with a .443 BABIP, and he has a 380 average. So that is ridiculously lucky. Guys aren't going to end the season with a much higher than a 380 BABIP. That average is coming down. Sure, he's striking the ball well. He's taking bases. So if you can get some high value for a Tim Anderson, you could do it. Christian Walker breaking onto the scene. The K rate's high. The BABIP is 430. The average is 340. That's coming down. He's not going to maintain this pace. Christian Walker is not going to give you these numbers over the next 18 weeks. You got to look at the BABIP and see some regression there. David Peralta, who I want to sleep on. Santana's hitting well. Meadows. I'm looking for another name here. Yeah, Bellinger, a 394 BABIP and a 426 average. Oh, my God. So he's hitting it hard. The hard barrel rate, the hard contact, that will raise your BABIP because he's striking it so significantly. But will he go this well? But I'm not trading studs. I might trade a guy who I got a little bit lucky on and the BABIP is high. And it'd be worth going and get him. And then you could just check the reverse. Just sort BABIP the wrong way. Low BABIP. So some of these guys are scrubs. I'm not saying go get Ian Kinsler, who has the worst BABIP in the league at a .164, or a Jesse Winker, 173. But guys that are good, that are good, that have a low BABIP. Jurickson Profar, .179. He got I picked him up off of waivers. He should run better. Jose Ramirez could remain a target. He owes you something. Even Chris Davis, after that power surge, he might owe you a little bit. Anthony Rizzo has a very low BABIP, but the eye looks really good. He's a guy worth going to get a piece of. Yasiel Puig. You can see the numbers there. So use some of that BABIP fluctuation if you want to make trades, you want to send some things out. BABIP should be around average, so 300 to 330. 350, 60, 70 is a little high. Those guys have to be striking the ball well and be having speed to maintain a high BABIP. So don't just ship a guy out because he's a 350. But if it's 390, 400, he's running hot. And if the BABIP is low, if it's a 200 BABIP, I mean, a low end of season BABIP might be a 270, a 280. But if it's a 200, his luck should probably break his way in the near future. I'm excited. It's a game of adjustments. And you know, the other thing I was gonna mention, just tinker. You know, don't rage cut guys you spent a lot of money on. Don't rage cut your top 100 picks. But it's the bottom of your waivers. If it didn't pan out, you know, you're disappointed. I took a flyer. He's not good. Just whack that guy and take some shots. You know, it looks like Ty Buttery might get some saves all of a sudden for the Angels. I think Caleb Smith is worth an ad. He probably doesn't have full respect yet. Keep tinkering with those lineups. Big shout out to all the subscribers. I'm going to come in from time to time. I want to give you guys effective takes from here to there. I hope your teams are doing well. You know, what are some of the assessments you made? Would you tweak your draft strategy a little bit? Don't blame yourself for the injuries. And happy Vlad Day. I'm going to be tuning in. I'm going to be watching these at-bats. I want to see this plate discipline. I can't wait. Holler.